Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to So You Think You're Iconic, the movie podcast, and welcome to
Woo.
Twilight Week.
Yes. Woohoo.
Mm-hmm.
We
Kelly,
are we are going to torture ourselves through Twilight and it's all my fault.
ourselves. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She's not the one that's going to have to go through like 6 hours of editing,
True, and I'm so sorry.
but it's fine.
This is all for you guys. We love you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Happy New Year.
Oh, yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's New
We
Year's for you. For
we made it.
me, it's Superpower Day.
Yes, it is.
I woke up this morning and shit was just flying all over my house. I don't know what to tell you, but I got my telekinesis.
It was a very Matilda moment where he just woke up, everything started spinning.
Mm-hmm. I'm in love.
Yes.
No,
Also, the Ariana Grande documentary comes out today. Woo.
can't wait to watch that when we're
Cannot
done.
wait.
But it's almost Christmas for us,
Yes, it is.
so we're having a fun time with that.
And I'm gonna stress Jordan out and say I still haven't wrapped any of my gifts yet. I am also
Oh, you were truly stressing me out because what?
I'm also waiting for a gift to arrive today.
Christmas is in 4 days.
I know. I know.
Mm-mm. I don't need to cut a procrastination in my life.
Hey, but it's gonna get done before Christmas Eve.
Is it? Is it?
We'll see how that goes.
Well, anyway,
Anyway,
how was your week?
it's pretty good. I met my cousin's puppy yesterday.
Oh, fun.
Really cute. She's a white Labrador. Super cute. She has her own little backpack that she sits in with my cousin. She's such a good little girl.
Well, my little boy is evil, so I don't know what to say. I've literally never had a dog this bad. I don't know what to do. He refuses to listen to anything.
He is his own
He
master.
ripped up the floor in our kitchen.
What?
I don't know how he did it. He ripped up the floor in our kitchen.
How?
I don't know.
And Diamond's never been bad?
No.
Like that bad before?
Probably because I picked her out. Like, that's why.
Yeah, probably.
It's a mess. Well, for me,
Yes.
I went to Six Flags.
Oh
I
yeah.
went to the drive-through Holiday in the Park thingy.
Was it amazing?
It was very short.
Oh. Oop.
Not $20 per person, I think. Maybe if it was only $20 per car, it would have been better. But $20 per person was not it.
Yeah, that's a little expensive for something like that. 20 per car would have made more sense.
Yeah. And I got the best news of my entire freaking life. My campaign worked. Lock and Key is getting a third season, even before season 2 was finished filming.
Woo!
My power. This is my true power.
That is your true power.
Making shows last. Quality shows, because we all know Netflix doesn't have that many of them.
No, they don't. And they always cancel the quality ones.
Always.
Always.
I was surprised The Witcher got a second season. I was shocked.
Yo. And like for those of you who have seen Sense8, we literally had to fight for a second season and then a series finale. And like we fought tooth and nail for that. And that was a really good show.
What's that other show everyone loved that got canceled? The OA. Is that it?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Never watched it. Never watched it, but everyone said it was amazing and it got canceled. So was Santa Clarita Diet. That show was so funny and they canceled it.
That?
Mm-hmm.
What the heck?
I was pissed.
Netflix, what the heck? Get your priorities straight.
And let's not forget that they brought back Arrested Development just to make it crappy. So yeah, this is a fuck Netflix household.
Yes, except for the babies that we do love.
Yeah.
Other than that.
But those rarely come. Ooh.
Yes, they do. I
just got a show that I'm going to add to my recommendations.
Ooh, okay.
I just remembered it. I'm adding it right now. Okay, but for now, Kelly's going to tell us about Twilight.
Yes. Woohoo. Also, I'm gonna preface this by saying I have never read the books. I barely remember any of the movies. I was never a fan of any of it. So
sadly, I remembered all of them.
So I'm basically going into all of these movies with like new eyes. And let me tell you, not good.
Let me preface that I've seen every single one of these movies before having to watch them for this podcast, and I never liked any of them, so I don't know why I've seen all of them.
Did they get worse now that you're like actually critically watching them?
Yes.
Okay.
By far. I didn't think I could hate them more than I did when I was in middle school, but here we are.
Here we are, y'all. So we start this movie with a voiceover from Bella, and she talks.
This movie is full of exposition.
Of course it is. Talking about how she never thought about dying, but if she were to die in the place of a loved one, that would be her way to go. While this is going on, we see something chasing a deer in the forest. We love metaphors. She also says that she's moving from Arizona, and that she would miss Phoenix and her mom and her new stepdad. But she won't regret moving.
Which I have a question.
Okay.
How old is the stepdad?
Why?
Because he's like a minor league baseball player, correct?
Oh,
yes. The average age of a baseball player, even like an old one, would be like mid to late 30s.
Yeah. Once you get over 35, you're very old in baseball years.
Like early 40s is really pushing it.
Yeah, that's only if you're super good.
So when did she meet this man?
Right.
Because Bella moved away when she was a child. So when did she meet this man? Was he like 20 years old when she met him?
Because he has to be at least late 20s or early 20s.
Yeah.
To be even considered for spring training in a league. Maybe maybe Bella's mom is a lot younger than we think.
Please, you've seen that
okay.
woman.
Yes. Okay, I'm sorry.
she is 40 minimum.
Maybe she just likes her younger men.
I'm not okay with that.
Yeah. Anyway. Her stepdad and her mom are going to be on the road a lot, so Bella is being shipped off to live with her dad Charlie in Forks, Washington, and it's a tiny town that's always rainy and cloudy. We learn that her dad Charlie is a police chief, and that her and Charlie have a non-existent relationship. And while they're in the car together in Forks, he makes an awkward comment about her hair, how long it is, and
it's like, oh, your hair, it got longer. She's like, I cut it since the last time we've seen each other.
And like we assume they haven't seen each other since she was like, I don't know, 10 at this point.
Did you see her room? Like, yeah.
Right. So they end up at Charlie's house and Bella's new home. And we learn that she used to spend 2 weeks here in the summer with her dad, but she hasn't done that in a long time. Charlie then shows her her new room, and the awkwardness is always there. And the best thing about Charlie is that he doesn't hover. And honestly, if I think he hovered a little bit more, none of this would have happened.
He didn't even need to hover. He just needed to be like a human being.
Yeah.
Like he treats her like she is a complete stranger.
Honestly, though. It's like she's renting a room in his house and he's just like, I'll see you maybe for meals and that's about it. Like he's not even curious. He doesn't even ask her anything.
No. He's
just all like, oh yeah, I'll see you later, or I gotta do this today. I'll see you later. That's all the interaction we get. So after her arrival, we see Billy Black and Jacob, who is one of Bella's childhood friends, show up at the house with an old orange truck that is her homecoming present, which she's super excited for.
That truck was ugly, but I really want to cuss this movie out.
Okay.
They tricked us into thinking Taylor Lautner had color in him. He is a white boy. He's completely white, and that pisses me off.
You know what? And honestly, one of the movie facts that I found for New Moon, that's like separate. But
I know exactly what movie fact you're talking about because that's my movie and I found it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they did a back check on everyone else but Jacob.
Pisses me off.
You'll learn about that movie fact tomorrow. So Bella's super excited for the car, and Bella offers to drive Jacob to school, but she finds out that he goes to school on the reservation, and is
How does
sad
she
because,
not know that before?
I don't know.
Weren't they childhood friends?
Right. I don't know. Maybe she thought he would go to a school off the reservation. I don't know why, but
for high school.
Yeah.
They're just like, okay, now that you're in your real formative years, like, we're gonna let you go with the white people.
You need to know how white people work, so we're gonna give you at least 4 years with them, and then you can come back. And she said that she won't know anybody on her first day of school. Also, Bella does not know how to drive a stick car, and that truck is a stick car, because she immediately asks, because Jacob's like, well, you gotta double pump the clutch for it to start, and she's all like, is that one the clutch? Like, if you knew how to drive a stick car, you would know.
I don't know how to drive one, so I would have been sitting there. All I would have heard is like squeaking the entire time me driving.
So anyway, next day she's at school, and she perfectly drives her stick shift car to school. And she is starting in March, middle of the semester. And she immediately meets Eric, who is on
That's
school
not
paper.
Even the middle of the semester. That is the end of the semester. Why did they let her in March?
Don't know.
There's literally like a month and a half left of school.
Really, though?
Okay.
Eric is there to tell her all about the schools that are working, and he wants to get like some tips on her, because they are making her the front page of the school paper, and she turns it down immediately because she doesn't want the attention. We then see Bella in gym, where she is further made the weak, I don't know how to play any sports type of protagonist, with her abysmal attempt at volleyball. And as a previous volleyball player,
yeah, she was terrible. We both played volleyball. She was terrible.
I would have sat her down. Really, though, I would have sat her down.
Hey, I know you have a book somewhere. Just go sit on the bleachers.
Right. Like, I know you really don't want to be here. It's clear. So you can just go do something else.
And like, we didn't go to a normal high school.
We really did.
But I love that they had the girls playing volleyball and the boys playing basketball.
Oh my God. Like, she says Forks is a tiny town anyway. How do you have that many students to do a full-on team of girl volleyball and men's basketball?
Maybe they have like all the grades at once.
Like, everyone has PE right before lunch. So
yeah.
That's hilarious. During this time, she meets Mike after nailing him in the back of the head with a volleyball, and then Jessica joins the conversation.
Jessica runs. She like runs when she sees him talking to Bella. She's like, what's going on over here?
Right. Like, girl, if you don't tone it down, how Mike ever missed that you liked him? I don't.
I mean, he wasn't that bright, because he didn't notice that Bella didn't like him.
That is true.
Like, she was not giving any signs that she was into him whenever they talked, and then he just kept trying.
I don't know. But anyway, they talk about Arizona, and she's super awkward about it, which I feel like all of her interactions during this movie are just awkward. Like I was saying. Then we see her at lunch, where she sits with Eric, Jessica, and Mike, where she is constantly bothered by people. And then she notices a group of people passing outside of the cafeteria, and learns that they are the foster kids of Dr. and Mrs. Collins, who moved here from Alaska, and that they're all together, and they usually keep to themselves.
That's a household that needs to be looked into, because why are all of you foster children hooking up with each other? That's not normal.
It really isn't. So
you're just okay with it.
Yeah. Like, I get that, like, Dr. and Mrs. Collins, they're like, you know, they've been alive for a long time, but wouldn't they know that would look awkward to people?
If it looked awkward back in their time, which I know it did, Why would they continue to do it?
I don't know. We then meet Rosalie and Emmett, who are a couple, Alice and Jasper, who are also a couple, and then finally Edward, who apparently is too good for any girl at the school. But Bella is like entranced with him and stares at him throughout lunch. We then see Bella going into biology, and when she passes by a fan, it blows her scent to Edward, and he visibly recoils.
I laughed so hard. It was so, the face he made was of pure and utter disgust. That was A plus acting. That was hilarious.
Because he immediately just like, I don't even think he even breathes in deeply. He just like sniffs in and then like acts like he's about to hurl.
He looked like he was about to throw up.
Like he looks at her and his body like curls into itself.
And then she sits next to him and literally he lasts for 5 seconds before he like rushes out the door.
Yes. Yeah. So Bella is made Edward's lab partner, and Bella thinks she smells weird, so she smells her hair. And sitting down for 5 seconds, there's a weird like tension between them throughout the class. And then immediately after the bell rings, Edward is out of the door.
Yeah, you would think she like washed her hair with like lighter fluid and dog shit the way he was acting.
Right. And like has ham and cat hair stuffed into her clothing or something for her to smell that bad.
Yeah. I want to know why he could be around all those other people, but then when she walked in, all of a sudden it was a problem.
Right.
Is that explained in the books?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I'm not going to read them, so
I'm not either.
Like someone's just going to have to tell me.
Right. It's like maybe I would understand if like maybe her scent just like tipped him over the edge because of like all the other smells combined with it.
It's like one more kid comes in, all of a sudden he's like, fuck.
He's just banging his head against the desk.
Oh my gosh, have you seen that movie Vampire Sucks? Vampire Suck? That like makes fun of this movie.
Oh yes.
During this scene, he starts like gnawing on stuff, and I'm like, that is totally what would have happened.
Yo, maybe we should watch that after.
Oh my gosh! Bonus episode.
But honestly, though, like, and it never continues. He is never bothered by her scent
ever again.
It's
weird. Okay.
It's weird. Anyway. So after class, Bella goes to the office and finds Edward there trying to switch science classes, but after being turned down, mutters that he has to endure it. And
because it's the end of the year. He's trying to switch science classes at the end of the year.
Like even at our high school, you had like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
To change a class.
What was the point at our school of changing a class? We had really one science teacher.
Right. And like the only class you could really change was music to art.
Yeah. We had drama for 1 semester.
Yes, we did.
That was fun.
We wanted it.
Yeah. That was fun.
Literally student led.
I took it. We pretty much, oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk about this. We pretty much just went in there. We would find monologues and we would say them, and then we would just fuck around for like the rest of the time. That's all we did.
We'd spend 15 minutes tops, like actually doing work, and then for the rest of the time we would just mess around, and no one was there to like monitor us anyway.
There was one teacher, but like he didn't care.
He really did not.
Oh, that was so much fun. And then the next semester, I guess they caught on and they were like, no.
Yeah.
So I had to go back to music. That was fun.
We then see Bella and Charlie at a diner after school where her and her dad share a very awkward meal.
Oh my gosh. That scene was so awkward.
It was so awkward.
It was like
painfully awkward.
It was like they'd never spoken to each other before.
Honestly. Like I feel like even the 2 weeks that she would spend with Charlie in the summers, even that was super awkward.
Yeah.
Like I don't like you cannot like chalk up their awkwardness to like a couple years apart. Like Charlie's just not an interested father.
I could go outside and talk to one of these construction men outside and probably have a better long-lasting conversation than they've ever had in their entire lives.
Yeah, because I don't think there's only one scene in this movie where like Bella and Charlie have an interaction, and it's when she's leaving.
Yeah.
That's literally it.
Yeah.
So anyway, back at home, Bella's on the phone with her mom, and she's asking about how her new school is treating her, and Bella gets frustrated and hangs up. Also, she is talking on speakerphone to a 2008 either Samsung or Motorola phone, and she's holding it like barely to her face.
Yeah. And her mother's like on a payphone.
Yeah, and her mom's on a payphone. You would not be able to hear any of that conversation if you were to hold the phone like Bella did and have a conversation like that.
For all you kids born in like 2000 and after, a payphone is a phone where you put in quarters, nickels, and dimes, and then you get like 10 minutes.
Depending on what you put in, you get a certain amount of time.
Yeah, my church used to have them, and then they finally got rid of them like 2 years ago.
Really?
And I was like, come on. Like, no one has touched these the entire time I've been alive. Why didn't you just now get rid of these?
No, like seriously, there's a little town next to where I went to college called Calistoga, and they had a payphone there. And literally, I only think they had it there because it was a super small town, and like 90% of the people who lived there were over the age of 50.
I'm sure even they didn't use that payphone.
And even they didn't use it. Yeah, like it was pretty nice. Like they kept it clean, but I was just like, who is keeping it clean and why?
My grandfather, who thinks just by touching a computer they can know his social security number, has an iPhone. So no one is using that payphone.
So the next day, through a voiceover, Bella says that she wanted to find out what Edward's problem was with her, but she doesn't get the chance because he doesn't show up to school for a week. She smelled that bad. I kind of want to know what he did during that week, just like with a neti pot, just like flushing out his nose.
Can we also talk about how the Cullens are constantly gone from school? How did they not get like suspended or something? They are constantly gone.
I don't know. Maybe it's the whole Dr. Cullen's a good guy, but also like he's a big contributor to Forks High School.
Like, I'm going to talk about this in the New Moon episode, but they're gone for like half of the year. They still graduate.
Yeah. And I'm sure they've done this at every high school they've gone to. So how are they able to graduate this many times?
Like, I get they've gone to school a lot of times, so they already know all of the information. But,
true, and they lived through it anyway.
But like, by law, you have to go to school a certain amount of days. Otherwise, the cops come to your house.
Yeah. And like they can like hold, like, because my cousin, she was graduating a couple years ago, and she even was late multiple times, and they were like, hey, we need to pull you aside for a second because you will not graduate because you've been late so many times and you've missed a couple days of school. Like, it's serious out here, y'all.
Yeah.
Maybe it's different in Washington, but probably not.
If it is different in Washington, y'all need to fix your laws because that's not right.
Yeah. So back to the movie, we see some kind of plant and a worker running for his life from 3 people. We'll figure that out later. All of those scenes where they show someone being chased in this movie, it's like 2 seconds long, and then we go back.
And the camera is like sideways.
Yeah.
Or like pointed towards the floor, and all you see is their feet. And it's like, what is happening?
Yeah. And like we see like shadows, and that's it. And then it's blurry. So what was the point? We then see Bella, and we find out that Charlie is going to be late for dinner because he has to head out to another county to deal with a murder of a security guard that was killed by an animal. If they know he was killed by an animal, why are they investigating?
Which is another we're going to get to that later.
We're going to get there.
In a different movie. But let me just mention this now. Because I was going to mention this in the Eclipse episode, which I probably still will mention it, but I'm going to mention it now. How does this police situation work? Because they're constantly working in like different cities and different counties.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure a sheriff is only designated to either one city or one county. Mm-hmm. So what's going on here?
Unless he was specifically asked to help out, he cannot do anything in that county.
In which case, why would anyone ask a sheriff from a small town in the middle of nowhere to help with their investigation?
Yeah.
Miss Stephanie Myers, we need to have a conversation.
Yes, we do. So we're at school with Bella, and she shows up for biology, and she is surprised to find out that Edward is there. She is also almost asked out by Eric to prom, but is interrupted by Mike. And what we've seen between any three of these characters, how are they already asking her out to prom? They've known her, what, like 2 weeks?
Probably.
Edward then introduces himself. And when asked by Bella why he was gone, he says that he was gone for personal reasons. They talk about the weather and why Bella has moved to Washington. And Bella comments on his eye color change from black to golden brown. And he blames it on fluorescent lights.
There's a lot of excuses in this movie that don't make any sense.
Honestly, though.
But we'll get to them when we get to them.
After school, Bella is at her car and she sees Edward across the parking lot. And we then see a van lose control and almost hits her. But she is saved by Edward, who has somehow ended up at her side and stops the car with his bare hand.
Mm-hmm. No one notices this.
No one notices this, by the way.
No one noticed Edward stop a car with his bare hands and then like flee.
Yeah, he jumps over her car.
Yeah.
And runs away. And people do not see that. Honestly, though, like high schoolers see everything and we want to be in everyone's business. Mm-hmm. So how nobody saw that and thought to question it. So Bella and does this guy have a name? Because I didn't put one down.
I don't know. All I know is he's the only black person seemingly in this entire town. And then Charlie starts treating him like complete shit.
We are at the hospital with nameless, only black guy ever in this movie series.
That's not true. No,
that's not true.
Not in the series. There's 2 in the series.
One of. We love diversity here.
Yep.
Charlie is there to meet her, and then Bella meets Dr. Cullen, and she mentions the fact that Edward saved her, and he just says how lucky she is and walks away. After her checkup, she finds Edward, Dr. Cullen, and Rosalie having a very serious conversation. Bella then calls him over and tries to talk about how he miraculously saved her, but he isn't having it, and he walks away.
Mm-hmm. Why was Rosalie there?
I don't know.
What did she add to the conversation?
I don't know.
I know she didn't add anything. I'm not hating on Rosalie. Like, she's one of my favorite vampires, so don't come for me.
Sure.
But, like, why did she have to be a part of that conversation?
I feel like, though, like, throughout this whole movie, Rosalie is, like, the most concerned for what's going on. So I feel like she was part of that conversation.
That's why she's my favorite. Right. She's the only one that's, like,
she's the only sane. Yeah, she's the only sane character in this. Like, she makes the most sense.
Yes.
Maybe that's why they didn't give her enough screen time in this, because Twilight would literally not happen.
Yeah, they couldn't have someone making too much sense. Otherwise, everybody watching would be like, you know what? That's a good point.
Rosalie would be everyone's favorite vampire.
Just picture a whole bunch of teenagers in like the hallways of a movie theater rioting. be like, make Rosalie a main character.
That would be amazing. Maybe we can start that now. Bring it back.
Yeah, Hollywood's like in love with making remakes right now.
They've mentioned it.
Let's do a Twilight remake, Rosalie's point of view.
Yeah. Or a book, and it'll be literally this big. Because she will see someone acting out of line and be like, I'm shutting that down right now.
Yeah, no.
Stop whatever you're doing. So that night, Bella wakes up and thinks she sees Edward in the corner of her room, but she goes to turn a light on and he is not there. She says it's a dream, but she never...
You were awake. Yeah, you were awake.
There's never that like, oh, I turned the light on and then I turn around and then he's not there. And then like I wake up in bed.
Yeah, she was awake.
Yeah, she was 100% awake. The day after her accident, Mike tries to ask her to prom again, but she is so caught up in staring at Edward that she misses it. So she turns him down and lies about spending that weekend in Jacksonville with her mom and suggests that he takes Jessica instead, which Jessica was staring hard at them during that whole conversation anyway.
Because she was like, say no, say no, say no, say no, say no.
Honestly, though. So the biology class goes to a greenhouse.
Sure.
What kind of field trip this was. And Edward brings up Jacksonville with Bella. And Bella brings up the fact that he stopped the van with his bare hand and he chalks it up to adrenaline.
Here we go with those terrible excuses.
There we go.
Adrenaline. Mm-hmm. Adrenaline doesn't make you stronger.
It does not. Well, in certain instances, it does. Like, you know, when like mothers like lift cars off of people or whatever, but it doesn't last that long.
Ain't nobody lifting a car off of nobody, Kelley. Come on.
I've read stories like that, but it does not stop cars with your bare hands. Okay. Mm-mm. It does not. That will just kill you and not the other person.
And justice for that black kid. Justice for him. Charlie threatened to take away his license.
Really, though?
Because of an accident.
Like, that's an abuse of power.
He hit a patch of black ice and all of a sudden the sheriff is like, I'm taking away your license.
Right. And he was so, like, messed up, too. He kept apologizing to Bella at every second he could.
Yeah. And all Charlie was like, shut up. No. Yeah. I'm taking your license away.
Right. So Edward then apologizes for being rude, but is interrupted by Jessica saying that she was asked to prom by Mike. Edward then says that they can't be friends and doesn't regret saving her, but is still rude to her when Alice asks if Bella is going to ride the same bus as them back to school.
The entire time Edward is looking at her, he's looking at her like she's like his next meal. Like he's like,
which
like he's just staring at her the entire time with like calculated eyes, like some sort of serial killer. Yeah. It's very creepy.
It's like every second he's in like, I don't know, like 2 miles of her, he's like hunting her. Mm-hmm. That's literally the vibe it is.
And a normal girl would be like, hey, why are you staring at me like that? Mm-hmm. But then we have Bella. She's like, do you want to go to La Push with me?
Honestly, and like me, even if me and my like shy kind of self in high school, I would have thrown hands. I would have thrown hands. Like, sheesh. That is not safe for anybody to be like looked at like that. So we then see Bella at home and has another awkward conversation with her dad, Charlie, about her mom and her new stepdad. Lasts for 30 seconds before she leaves. At school the next day during lunch, Bella is invited to La Push Beach for whale watching and to watch the boys surf, and she decides to go. Bella then goes to the salad bar that obviously every public school has. And
they do actually. Yeah, my elementary school had a salad bar. Like, okay. Yeah, public schools have salad bars.
Okay, because that salad bar looked really nice. It looked even better than my college one.
Like, no, they're not going to be nice. They're not going to be nice. I mean, maybe this is it's not a well-off area. It's a small town. There's no well-off. Yeah, I don't have an excuse. It's just movies.
She is interrupted by Edward, who is now forced to recreate the cover of the first book by catching her apple with his hands like that.
It looks so bad.
It's very bad.
Like, how come the scene where what's his name? Tobey Maguire? What's his character's name?
In what movie? Spider-Man?
Peter Parker.
Peter Parker.
Why does the scene in the first Spider-Man where Peter Parker literally catches stuff on a tray with one hand look more realistic than this?
Because he's catching an apple with both of his hands like this to recreate the the book cover. Like, that's not natural. You don't do that.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
And like Stephenie Meyer like really pushed for that because those who've read the books will know. Girl.
Will they?
Will they? I literally had to watch like behind the scenes for that. Because I like that whole scene with him like kicking it up to his hands was not good.
I wonder how many times they had to do it.
I know, right? So after Edward catches the apple, she comments on his mood swings of not wanting to or wanting to be friends with her, brings up the accident again, and brings up him maybe being a superhero. And he says, "What if I'm the bad guy?" And she's clearly unimpressed and says that his bad boy act is just a mask covering the soft boy on the inside. She then suggests they hang out at the Push, and he says it's too crowded, so he won't go. So at the Push, the guys and Jessica get ready to surf. Angela makes a comment about wanting Eric to ask her to prom, and Bella makes the comment that Angela is a strong, independent woman, and she should ask him first, coming from the stereotypical weak, different girl of the series. That holds a lot of weight. Of course it does. Jacob and two of his friends show up, and they join Bella and her friends. They find out that Edward was also invited, but he bailed, and the atmosphere is super tense when Jacob's friends say that the Cullens don't come here.
Oh my gosh. So you're telling me that Jacob's tribe let some random white people have a portion of their land, and they get the best part of that land. They get the actual town. Like, they get the best part of the land. Why?
I don't know.
It's feeling very Mayflowery to me. It's feeling very Christopher Columbus. Like, it's not making sense to me.
It's not. Like, you would want to keep that for yourself.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's one of those white whiny people have whined that they want the beach too.
Yeah.
So Bella brings it up with Jacob on the beach of how the Cullens are allowed here or whatever. And he tells her the story of his tribe that are descended from wolves, and that the Cullens are something different. And they were found hunting on their land, and they struck up a treaty with I'm going to say the tribe name as close and as accurate as I can. I watched a lot of videos on this. The Quileute.
Sure.
And they said that they wouldn't expose the Cullens for what they really were if they stayed off their land. Bella then asks if the story is true because they just moved there from Alaska. And Jacob says, what if they just moved back?
Which makes that treaty even worse. They get to just leave and come back, and they still get to keep that land.
The treaty? I don't know. Very Christopher Columbus of them.
Christopher Columbus.
So Bella tries to think that the story is real, but Jacob says it's just a story, like don't take it too seriously. We are then shown a boat dock and a man on his boat, and he is then killed by 3 people, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. Bella then back at home looks up the Quileute.
During this killing, so one of them, his name is James.
Yes.
Was he just walking around this entire time with no shirt? And then once he killed the guy, he was like, hey, let me start wearing this jacket.
Put some clothes on.
Let's put some clothes on now.
I guess.
Okay. He was like, I don't need any clothes until I find a future victim that has a jacket I like. And then I will put on some clothes.
Right. It's like, I'm going to be naked throughout this whole video until I find somebody that fits my aesthetic. And then I will take their clothes. Only then will I be happy. So back with Bella, she's looking at the Quileute legends and finds a book about it at one of her local stores and makes sure to pick it up the next day. At school the next day, Bella is looking for Edward and is caught by Jessica, who explains that the Cullens are always out of school when the weather is nice. saying that Dr. and Mrs. Cullens pull them out to go hiking or camping. Why any of that would fly as an excuse to miss school?
I mean, you can't say that, Kelley.
You can't.
We can't say that because literally there is a week where like 90% of our school leaves to go camping. So we can't say that.
But it was a school thing.
True. Not technically.
It's kind of like the senior trip. You have to make like the 3 days of educational, 2 days of fun, right?
I don't even think that's a real thing. I think that's just something made up for our school. But whatever.
Well, we're gonna roll with it anyway. But like that was like a personal thing for them. Like, why would that ever fly?
Who knows? Don't listen to us about our school. Our school was a mess.
Yeah. Our school does not match up with normal schools in California. So you may have a very different experience in high school, and that is 100% valid.
No, you most definitely will have a different experience than we did.
Because our experience was very niche.
Very niche. Even niche than the other schools like our school.
That is also true. So after learning this, Angela comes up and says that she got Eric to go with her to prom after asking, and Bella asks to go with them to dress shop because her bookstore is close by. At the dress shop, the girls are looking at dresses while Bella is being an unsupportive friend.
Yeah, Bella's a terrible friend.
He's a terrible friend.
Like you obviously didn't want to go dress shopping. Why did you come?
Right. Like you could have just said, hey, can I go into town with you?
Yeah.
Because I got to go to a bookstore. But no, she's like, let me go dress shopping with you.
And then how far
dress shopping with them and hype them up, okay? They're your friends.
How far away was this bookstore?
Yeah.
I have some questions because literally she goes in, she buys like 2 books, she comes out, it's pitch black outside. What happened?
It's like 10 o'clock at night. Because it's afternoon when they're at the dress shop.
She's gone for enough time that when she gets back, the girls are all like, we ate dinner. I mean, it was very messed up that they ate dinner when their friend was missing, but like they had enough time to eat dinner.
Yeah.
How far away was this bookstore?
So Bella goes to the bookshop, gets out at midnight. And she is being watched from like the bushes. And when she leaves, she is followed by 2 guys and then runs into 2 more. They crowd her, but is saved by Edward drifting in with his Volvo.
So this movie really glosses over the fact that she would have been sexually assaulted if he wasn't a stalker. And the fact that this town has multiple rapists in it.
Charlie is not doing his job.
He is not.
He's not doing his job.
No. Excuse me while I eat my pancakes. No. He's not doing his job.
And then he would have been, if Bella was sexually assaulted, then he would have been that police officer that would have suspected everybody in town.
Oh, every man in the town would have been in jail.
And then he would have been that after that would have been like, if any girl said something, he would believe them, which you should believe all victims. But I think he would be way too like intense about it. You know what I mean? You
saw how he was when that guy got in an accident.
Yeah.
Just imagine if his daughter was actually hurt.
So, get your priorities straight, Charlie. So Edward is there. He scares off the other guys. He gets Bella in the car and he speeds away, saying
Tokyo dressed his way out of there.
In his Volvo. Come on now. He's saying that he wants to go back to kill those guys for thinking the vile things that they were about Bella. She questions how he knew what they were thinking, and he says he could just guess. Bella talks to Edward.
I mean, you could just guess.
You really could just guess.
That was a good excuse.
That was a good excuse. Put that 1 in the column.
Edward 1, the real world 34.
Exactly. Bella then talks to Edward so that he won't go back to kill those guys. Bella then meets up with the girls at the restaurant, and they say they tried to contact her, but after seeing Edward, he explains that he's the reason why she's late, and the girls try to leave with Bella, but Edward invites her to eat. If I were Jessica and Angela, though, I'd still be mad and be like, yo, girl,
right.
Answer your damn phone, even if you're with a guy. Like, we get it, you like him, but you're our friend.
Jessica's a terrible person, but Bella keeps doing this to her, and honestly, I'd be like, I don't want to go anywhere with you anymore.
True. So in the restaurant, Bella eats while Edward brushes off food, saying that he's on a special diet. Bella starts to ask questions, and when he doesn't answer how he knew where she was, she tries to leave, but he stops her. He says that he feels protective of her, and that's the reason he followed her. Red flag. If you want to start keeping track, or if you want to start taking shots every time I say that, you can start doing that now. Because there are a bunch of red flags.
I don't have anything shot worthy, but I think I have some wine. I'll be right back.
You can go sip every time. He only stepped in to help her when he heard what the guys were thinking. How long was he following her for?
Days.
No, but he was only going to step in if she was hurt. Edward then confirms that he can read minds except for Bella's, and then he proceeds to show that he can with no actual proof.
No proof.
And she just accepts it 100%. This man
he's like, I can read everyone's mind but yours.
Right.
And she fell for that.
And like, he gives just very general answers. He's just like, money, sex. Cat. It's not like he's like, that guy is thinking how good his meal is right now, especially this sauce. Mm-hmm. And that woman is thinking this and blah, 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 blah. He just gives her one-word answers.
She believes him.
And she believes him.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but I'm sure at least one person needs to hear this. If a man says he can read everyone's mind but yours, maybe you shouldn't be with that man.
Mm-hmm. Also, the fact that he can read minds.
Yeah.
Let's just start with that first.
That's a little sus.
That's a little sus. Bella then assumes that something is wrong with herself, and Edward is astonished that that's what her takeaway is. And Edward, you are totally right.
Yeah.
Why that is her problem, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not her problem at all.
It really isn't. Edward then says he doesn't have the strength to stay away from her. Another red flag. Edward drives Bella home, and during the drive, she goes to turn the heater off when her and Edward barely brush hands. Barely. And she can feel how cold she is, but he doesn't say anything. Neither of them say anything. They then
he had a cold hand.
Ooh, you live in Washington.
You know how many times a week I have cold hands?
Right. And the heater is on. Like, come on, girl. He could just be very cold like I am. Mm-hmm. They then come upon a bunch of police officers and notice that Charlie and Dr. Cullen are also there.
What? You mean, why is he there? He's a doctor, not a coroner. Why is he there?
Maybe he doubles?
So this town has one doctor / coroner.
I don't know.
He has enough time to do both.
Yes.
Okay. And what's his specialty?
Oh yeah, right.
Because like he like helps Bella in the ER.
Yeah.
But like he's dressed in like a white coat and stuff. Like he's like a general practitioner. What's going on there?
Right. Like you're either trauma or you're a general practitioner or you're a coroner.
Yeah. What's going on here?
Pick one.
Those are three very different specialties. What's going on?
Right. Maybe he just likes to be very involved.
I mean, I know he's had like enough years to like do everything, learn everything. But normal people only do one thing.
Yes, they do. Well, I mean, they picked a good town to be weird in because none of them are questioned.
And he chose to be a doctor and like didn't choose to like study diseases. It's like you're gonna be alive forever, and you just wanted to work at an ER, not like find a cure for cancer.
You really could have. Dr. Cullen, you're doing life wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure after like the first like 100 years, he'd be like, "Hey, I got something here."
Right. Also, why would he continue to be a doctor? Because he would have learned that
everything.
Leeching would have been a good cure, or heroin would have been a good cure. Like, what if he accidentally slips up? It's like, you know what I can do for you? Heroin. Pure heroin. I know a guy.
Can vampires do drugs?
Oh, I don't know. Can they?
Stephenie Meyer, I need another book.
Right. we just want like a Q&A kind of book. Like,
yeah, Q&A
questions. You just like answer them. Also, do they get drunk?
I don't know. Do they drink stuff?
Do they drink? Yeah, they do.
And why can't they eat like regular food?
Yeah.
Like, I know they don't need to eat regular food, but like they seem
what
to
if
like
you want to?
Yeah, to like try to look normal.
Yeah. Is it like, because like you can eat even if you're not hungry.
Yeah.
What if it's like taste bud kind of thing? Like they can't taste anything, so why eat?
In that case, they could still eat. Because I'm pretty sure it's very awkward. Is it because they can't poop? And like, oh.
What, do they lose their intestinal tract the moment they become vampires?
They don't have any blood flow, so I would guess so.
True.
Like, they don't have a heartbeat, right? Correct? Am I wrong?
I don't know. I've seen too many like vampire shows and movies, and they all give different information.
I'm pretty sure
at this point,
I'm pretty sure vampires don't have a heartbeat, which means nothing in their body is moving. So I'm pretty sure if they ate food, it would just get stuck in there.
But like in the Vampire Diaries, Damien and what's the brother's name?
Well, first off, his name is not Damien.
No, but Damien and the younger brother.
Damon and Stefan.
They get drunk and they drink. Like, explanation.
Stephenie Meyer. Our email is sytyi podcast@gmail.com.
Or if anybody has studied like vampire stuff, can y'all like and are a better source than Stephenie Meyer? Can y'all just,
because honestly, she is a bad source.
Yes, she is. Okay, we're getting way off track. Anyway. So Edward and Bella learned that there was another animal attack from the guy at the boat dock who was Charlie's friend. I did not catch his name. Bella then goes in to comfort her dad, and Charlie promises to find the thing that did it, and he gives Bella pepper spray to protect herself. As they're leaving the station, Bella sees the dead body and then has a revelation about Edward. At home, Bella reads her new book and finds something called the Cold One and does some research and somehow makes the connection that Edward is a vampire.
Yeah, she did literally some half-ass research. Not even half-ass. She literally looks up phrases.
She clicked one link and stayed on that one website and went through her tabs and just took that as her main source of information.
And then she looks up drinks blood. But she never saw Edward drink blood. So where did she even get that from?
So like the only thing that she has for her suspicion is cold and
doesn't go in the sun.
Super speed. Because how did he get there to her like at the accident? Like that's her only two things.
He could just be like an anemic runner. Like she doesn't know anything about him.
Yeah. Like she accepted his answer about being on a special diet. Why wouldn't she believe him about anything else? Because she's clearly able to believe him about everything else. Anyway.
Everything.
She does not question him at all. So the next day at school, Bella sees Edward and they together walk off school campus and into the woods. And they go, I don't know how far, but it looks super far.
This must be the same school as the school in Jennifer's Body, because why are there no fences around the woods? That's very...
I mean, my college was like that.
That's a college.
That is true.
This is a high school.
That is true.
In the middle of a city. Your school was actually in the middle of the woods. Like
I mean, there was a high school and an elementary school in the same area, and they were like right next to the woods too.
Did they have a fence? Probably.
They did not have a fence. The only fence was around the school itself, like their actual like playground area and like field did not have a fence around it.
That's bad, but okay.
Niche experience, y'all. Niche experience. So once they get far enough away, Bella then starts listing the characteristics of a vampire, and Edward makes her confirm that she's a vampire.
Why does she have to say it out loud? Why?
I don't know. Maybe it makes it more real. I don't know. Because she literally says, these are the characteristics of a vampire. But he's like, say what I am.
Like, say it.
Immediately after she says what he is, he asks if she's afraid, and she says no.
Pure delusion. Pure delusion. He dragged you into the middle of the forest, and you're like, you're not going to hurt me.
And then what happens after this does not scare you away either.
Yeah, he kidnaps her.
So he then asks her what they eat, and she says that he won't hurt her. Girl, how do you know that? You've had 3 interactions with him, and those 3 interactions were basically you asking him about the accident you were in. Yeah. Nothing else. What gave you the indication that he won't hurt you? Anyway,
oh my gosh, Edward... I forgot I wrote this. This is hilarious.
What?
So he's literally like, I want to kill you. Like, all I ever want to do is kill you. And she's just like, yes, daddy, compare me to heroin.
Yes, I was gonna get there, but that's amazing. So Edward then carries her up the mountain with his super speed. I don't know why he had to do that because I feel like they were miles away from the school anyway. And he speeds up the hill so that they can find the single patch of sunlight in Washington. And so that she can see that he sparkles in the sunlight. Why Stephanie Myers decided that, I don't know why.
I'm sure because she was like, I need to do something with sunlight. Like, there's like so interlocked, like vampires and sunlight, but I can't have them die in sunlight because how could they go to school? So this is what I'm going to do.
Bella then says that he's beautiful, but he says he's a killer, but he is 100% right.
He wasn't lying.
He was not lying. Edward says then that everything about him attracts humans, from his voice, his looks, his whatever. And he tries to scare her off with his super speed and strength, but Bella doesn't care.
Nothing phases this girl.
Nothing phases this girl. How she ever got this far in life, I do not know. Homie then admits he's killed people. She still doesn't care. Even says he's never wanted to kill and drink her blood more in that moment. And she still trusts him.
Yeah.
Like, girl, he stalked you, only protected you because of some alpha male bullshit type of she's mine, no one can have her type of mindset. And you only intrigue him because he can't read your mind.
Yeah.
That's controlling AF, y'all. Like, red flags abundant right in that just little interaction. Edward then says she should fear him and confirms that his whole family is vampires. Why he had to out his whole family?
I mean, if she was any sort of intelligent, she would have put it together. But
true, but if she wasn't going to, then he could have just kept it to himself.
Yeah, that kind of wasn't any of her.
It wasn't any of her business.
And can we talk about how Carlisle was just going around biting people without their permission?
How true.
He was just going around just biting. He's like, hey, you look pretty. Let me bite you.
And now you're dying. What if they just wanted to end it, yo?
Like, we know that Rosalie wanted to die, so I truly don't understand what was happening.
He's got some savior complex going on right now.
Which we will talk about Rosalie's story in the Eclipse episode. Mm-hmm. But I have some thoughts. I have thoughts about that. Continue.
So Edward says that they only hunt animals, and that they've controlled their thirst, but something about Bella is like a drug to him. He specifically says that she is his own personal brand of heroin.
Yeah.
Whoever hears that and thinks that person is mentally stable, I have no words.
What would happen if there was a mentally unstable vampire? Like they're crazy and then they get bit. Does their brain like fix itself when they go through the transformation?
I don't know.
Or do they stay crazy?
I don't know how much of their like physiology changes when they're changed.
Because spoiler alert, at the end of Breaking Dawn Part 1, Bella's body is fucked up.
It really is.
And it fixes itself.
Yeah.
So does your brain get fixed when you turn into a vampire? Like if you have like a mental illness, does it get like fixed?
Right. Like are you like reborn kind of thing? Like everything is instantly fixed. You don't have to worry about any physical pain anymore. Like is that a thing? Like even if it was like genetically that's your thing. Is it like I assume it would because right, you're a vampire now, so genetically you are changed.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with mental illness does not exist, even though it obviously exists.
Bella then asks why Edward hated her when they met, and it's only because he hated the fact that he wanted her so badly and that he couldn't control it. And Bella says that she knows that he can. How she knows any of this, I still don't know. Edward then asks Bella what she's thinking, and she says she's not afraid of him, but only afraid of losing him. You've known each other for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Edward then says that she doesn't know how long he's been waiting for her. Then there's that dumb line about, so the lion then fell in love with the lamb. Who thought that was cute? Okay, also, I just want to pause and say either Bella is super horny or she has a death wish.
Both?
Both?
I mean, same, but like both. Is
that your new Instagram bio?
Hashtag horny with a death wish.
Put that on a t-shirt. They then lie down in the grass and stare at each other for God knows how long. Then the sun like starts to shine and Edward sparkles. Back at home, through a voiceover, Bella knows 3 things for certain about Edward. He is a vampire. There's a part of him that wants to kill her. While all this is happening, Edward has shown up to her house. Edward then drives Bella to school and it causes a scene. Edward says that he can start doing whatever he wants and start breaking rules because he's going to hell anyway. And the rest of the Cullens stare him down. Bella learns more about vampires through, I'm assuming, multiple conversations with Edward, that they were turned by Carlisle. He was turned in 1918 when he was dying of Spanish flu. The change was super painful, and Carlisle must have a ton of restraint to only turn somebody and not kill them. Also, I just want to point out in this section right here, I don't know how long this conversation is going on, but 1 minute they're like by the ocean and it's not raining, and then in one set of clothing, and then the next it's raining and they're in a different set of clothing, and then they go back to that scene at the beach with the other set of clothing. I don't know if it's
maybe he told her like multiple times.
Maybe, I don't know.
She's like, tell me the story again.
One more time.
I forgot. I was not listening.
Right. I kind of blacked out between your 1918 change and like the 1980 part of your story, so I'm gonna need that. Like,
tell me that again.
The reason the Cullen family do not eat humans is because they don't want to feel like monsters. They're the vegetarian vampires. Bella learns then that there are other vampires in the area, and they are the reason for the animal attacks that have killed 3 people, I'm assuming. They also have powers, and he outs Alice and says that she can see the future. Yeah, this man just outs everybody's secrets right now.
Only some of them have powers, though, because only Edward and Alice have powers.
That is true. Maybe he's counting like super speed and stuff as a power.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Sometime later, Edward jumps on Bella's car, which rude.
He does that a lot. He does that a lot throughout this series.
As his entrance, and says he wants to take her to meet his family. And Bella's only reservation is the fact that they might not like her and not the fact that they're vampires.
Priorities.
Edward then abruptly leaves after saying he'd come to get her, and he leaves only because Billy Black and Jacob have stopped by. Jacob is there because he wants to see Bella, and his dad is there to watch the Mariners game with Charlie. Billy then comments on the Wallens case, and Charlie tells him to tell the kids on the reservation to stay clear of the forest so they don't get hurt too. Haha, but they're werewolves.
We don't know that yet.
We don't know that. The next day, Edward brings Bella to his house. Carlisle, Emmett.
That house is my dream home. I would not want it to be with that many windows in the middle of the forest, but it's my dream home. You put it in a nice city. I would have loved that house.
Right.
Also, there were a lot of architectural design flaws in that house, but that's fine. Like the fact that Edward's room has like a door that opens outside, but no balcony.
I commented on that, bro. Also, his room is the size, like it looks smaller than my dorm room.
Yeah,
it looks smaller than what I had in college.
I mean, I guess because the largest thing that goes in a room is a bed, and they don't need beds.
But still, wouldn't you want like a big room? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't like. Wouldn't you want to lay down occasionally? He only has a chase lounge in that room. Like I'd want to sprawl out sometimes. You can get a bed for that.
I guess he spends all of his time staring at Bella in her room, so it doesn't really matter.
That is true. Also, where did they get the money for all of this? Like, have they been saving money? Is this like old money?
Probably. They probably had like 300-year-old U.S. bonds. and every time they need money, they just cash one of them in.
That's amazing. So at the house, Carla, Emmett, and Esme are making food for Bella, which is super cool for them, by the way. They're making her Italian. Also, when I watched this for like the first time and I saw Esme, the literally thing that I could think of when I see her, and still to this day, is Ava or like Rebecca Pope from Grey's. Like,
Same.
Literally, she is never Esme in my head.
No, I'm like, you're that crazy girl from Grey's Anatomy.
I'm like, I will never associate you with Twilight. You will only be
from Grey's Anatomy. Yes.
They are making her Italian food, and when Bella goes to accept to eat the food, Edward is an asshole and says that she's already ate. Which she just said she would eat their food. Like, right? She's trying to be nice.
She's trying to be nice. Why they made so much food for one person, I'll never understand.
Maybe they forgot how much food a person eats. I have no idea. Or maybe they're planning to fake eat with her. I don't know.
Which brings up the thing that they can fake eat.
Yes. Rosalie is then pissed.
I would have been pissed too.
So would I.
I would have been pissed too.
And Bella explains that she knows that they don't eat, so she already ate, which Esme accepts, which she just accepted to eating your food, and then she goes with Edward saying that
if I'm full and I go to someone's house and they cooked me a meal, I would eat too. But
I'm not an asshole and say, oh, sorry, I've already eaten. Rosalie and Emmett then explain the danger to them for Edward and Bella to be together, which Bella tries to explain that she won't tell a soul. Like, Rosalie and Emmett's anger is very much justified here. I would just say that.
Yeah.
Alice and Jasper then join them.
Oh my gosh, Jasper.
He's
literally, every time he looks at her, he's like shaking, like he's going through withdrawal. Like, it's very weird.
Really, yeah. Alice says that they'll be best friends, and Jasper is trying to control himself because he's the most recently turned.
Shaking. In the corner, shaking.
Like, he can't even move. Like, that's how much restraint he's using right now.
How does he go to school?
I don't know. Why they even let him go to school? Like, I know he has to control it, but he's surrounded by humans all day.
Yeah.
That's not a good combination. And then why everyone brushes off Rosalie's and Emmett's concerns, I don't understand.
Because they're making valid concerns, and they don't do valid.
Nothing in the show is valid.
they're like, what? You think it's weird that he's supposed to be your brother? Nah, that's not weird. What?
Of course not.
Us being around this random human girl isn't weird.
Right. What? And it's not about to get us in super trouble for the next 4 movies. Oh. Yeah. Literally, Twilight could have ended in one movie.
If Edward had just stayed in his lane.
If any of them had stayed in their lane. Edward then shows Bella the rest of the house. They get to his room and he's got a lot of music in there. Turns out Edward is a fan of Debussy. And I will just go on this little music rant because I have a music degree and I can say this. Like, I get that you're like, the point of this is to make like a Moon reference, but there are so many other beautiful songs that you could have picked instead of Claire de Lune, the most generic. Anyway.
I have no idea of anything you just said.
Sorry.
Literally everything went in one ear, it came out the other. It was like you were speaking a completely different language.
Anyway, Claire de Lune is playing and Edward attempts to dance with Bella, and what could have been the only romantic scene in this movie is ruined by Bella saying that she can't dance. And literally, he was only twirling you and y'all were just shuffling back and forth. Bella, you can shuffle for 2 seconds.
I think she uses I can't dance as a way to be like, I don't want to dance with you.
I mean, I always feel like throughout this whole movie, she's just using him. But anyway. And he says that he could make her do anything. Wait. Okay, anyway. He says he could make her dance. And her only reply is that she's not afraid of him. Like, girl, he literally just said he could compel you to do whatever he wants. That.
What at this point? Why is it even interesting for Edward to be with her anymore? Like, she literally just does whatever you tell her to do. How is that interesting?
Mm-hmm. Right. Like this girl is literally just a mirror for whatever you tell her, because she'll just spit back whatever you say to her.
Like, there's literally no pushback at all. She's just like, okay, okay.
There's no personality. There's no character. She doesn't have any beliefs
at all.
Literally it. Like, the only thing she believes is that Edward is not going to hurt her, and that's literally her whole character. So then Edward says, "Oh, you're not afraid of me?" He grabs her, throws her on his back, jumps out of his non-existent balcony.
Yep.
And then proceeds to climb a bunch of trees to show her the view of Washington. I don't know. They then end up somewhere and Edward plays the piano for her while Bella watches.
Right? Where are they?
Where are they? We are not ever shown a piano in the Cullens house, and like the room that they're in is super dark.
To be honest, it kind of looks like the ballet studio from the end of the movie. Did they just like reuse that room?
They probably did. We then see a red-haired girl running away from the police.
Mm-hmm. It gave major Abercrombie and Fitch vibes.
Mm-hmm. Bella then we then see Bella arriving at a diner to have a meal with her dad.
Do they eat there every day?
I think so, because the way the waitress like acts around Charlie, I feel like he eats every meal at that diner.
Oh my gosh. First off, how can he afford that? Secondly,
how can his body afford that?
Yes. Like, I'm not going to sit here and like be like a higher thing. Like I don't eat Taco Bell like 5 times a week.
Right.
But no vegetables at all.
Yeah, like you only ever see him eating
steak and fries.
Burger. Yeah. Like at least Bella has like a salad every once in a while. Cool. But like, homie, maybe try something that isn't fried for like
you don't even have like
covered in oil.
You don't even have like cereal at your house to eat, like something.
Right, like you aren't maybe craving sometimes like just yogurt and fruit. Like, you know how you get like that craving for a banana every once in a while and you're just like, I'm gonna have a banana.
You really fruit. You really walk over to the diner and be like, hey, I want a banana.
Like, does this man have any food in his house other than like beer in his refrigerator?
Probably not. I don't think we even go inside of their kitchen ever in this entire series of this movie.
Yeah.
We do?
Yeah. The conversation that Charlie has with Bella about like her mom and her stepdad. That lasts like a minute. They're in their kitchen.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Neither of them are eating anything though.
Of course they aren't. They don't have any food.
So at the diner, Bella is confronted by Mike, and he says he doesn't like seeing her with Edward, but she just brushes him off. Once inside with Charlie, the waitress asks him for an update on the case, and he says that there is a human footprint, but that's the most he can do because that's another county's problem, but he hasn't had a problem getting into other counties' business, so
right.
why he stops now, I don't know.
He's a bad cop, and I'll tell you later why he's a bad cop.
Charlie then asks about Bella's love life, but they don't go into it. And he says that he's afraid that he's leaving her alone too often, which he 100% is. And they don't go further into that, which they should have. At home, Bella is then on the phone with her mom, and they talk about her stepdad. And they talk about Edward when he just shows up in her room.
I mean, when doesn't he just show up places?
True. He then tells her that he has gotten in through her window, and when asked if he's done it a lot, says he's been doing it for the past couple of months and that he likes to watch her sleep.
If that doesn't scream serial killer, I don't know what does.
Like that really would have freaked me out.
Because you're a normal person.
That is true. Does Bella have any?
Even if he's done it once, cells? Even if he only did it once before, that's still a major red terrifying. Flag.
Yeah.
Yes.
This girl does not have any sense of self-preservation.
No.
There's then a kissing scene, which is very long and uncomfortable because he takes like 30 years to kiss her. Mm-hmm. And then they start to make out, but he pulls himself away because he felt like he'd lose control.
This was the scene where I knew Charlie was a bad cop. Edward throws himself off of Bella and literally slams into the wall, and it's loud. And Charlie never comes up to check on her.
Is Charlie even home?
He seems to be home every night. Just sleep on like the couch for some reason. But yeah, he seems to be home every night. How did he not hear that?
I don't know.
Like, imagine, do I have anything to make that sound since this is not a visual medium?
Right. I'm not near any wall or anything. So.
I'm not either. Okay, here. I would like tap my desk.
Yeah.
You hear up.
Yeah. Upstairs in your
You're not gonna go check?
Right.
You need no, he can't be a cop anymore.
Really though.
It's over. Give me your badge.
It's over.
Since you love the diner so much, you can go be a waiter. Like give me the badge.
So after that, Bella convinces him to stay, and they talk until she falls asleep. Which is probably the first time they've ever spent quality time together this whole movie, like where they aren't talking about vampire stuff, which maybe they are, I don't know, because you never hear them talk, but their first real interaction. Seemingly the next day, Bella tells her dad that she has a date with Edward while he's cleaning his shotgun, and Charlie agrees to meet him. Edward says that they're going to play baseball with his family, and that's it. Charlie then asks Bella if she still has the pepper spray, and she like brushes him off, and like he has the right to ask because
but they're gonna be with his family. What's gonna happen in front of his family?
True, but they're all vampires, even though he doesn't know that.
He doesn't know that.
So Bella asks why they like baseball, and Edward says it's because it's an American pastime and that they can only play during thunderstorms, and that she'll see why. And they need the thunderclaps to cover the sound of them hitting a baseball, and how they ever perfectly time that, I'll never know.
I mean, they didn't technically have to time it.
True, but it always is timed correctly in the movie.
Yeah.
Bella is then made umpire, which is the wrong
because she obviously can't play with them.
Because she that is true, but I feel like she's never played a sport in her life, so why is she made an umpire? She could have just watched.
Right? Does she know the rules of baseball? I mean, like I know that her like stepfather plays baseball, but like
And that her dad watches baseball, but that does not mean she interacts.
That does not mean she knows any. Like, I don't know what my mom does at work.
Me neither. I don't know what either of my parents do. I just know what company they work for.
I don't even know that.
So we then get the most iconic Jasper scene of him flipping the bat. Love it.
And can we talk about the scene, during the scene, Edward and Emmett go after a ball. I think it's during this when Jasper hits it. Mm-hmm. And neither of them called it. They both just jumped into the air.
Like, y'all, for y'all that don't know baseball, in the
any sport,
there are, especially in the outfield, there are 3 sections. There is left, right, and middle. Wherever this ball was hit, there is a line that you do not cross to get into another person's area. So if Emmett was playing middle and Edward is playing, let's say, left, and the ball is in Edward's place, Emmett does not go over there. Okay?
No.
You literally call the ball and you stay in your lane. But since none of this family can stay in their lane, this is what happens.
Let's say it's like volleyball, because this also applies to volleyball.
Yes, it does.
If you're going to jump up to get the ball, you have to call it. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise, you're going to do what they did.
Exactly what they did.
And slam into each other.
Yes, which, by the way, I've done that before, and that hurts.
Yes, it does hurt.
So while they're playing, Alice foresees people coming and calls off the game, but before they can run off, 3 people show up. Edward tries to hide Bella, but it doesn't work. He literally just stands in front of her.
I'm sorry, but what he told her to do made absolutely no sense.
Oh, I know. And Rosalie calls him out for it too, which, what a queen.
There we go. We love a queen who calls out bullshit. He tells her to put her hair down.
Like, wouldn't that make her smell more obvious? Because
exactly.
Like, her hair was just up in a cap. She should have just left it up in the cap.
And that's why it bit him in the ass.
Literally, his stupidity is the reason why she gets hurt.
Yes.
And he takes the blame for it, and he 100% should. So we then find out that these 3 people are Laurent,
sure.
Victoria, and James. And
I don't think they actually ever say his name. So
he says his name once, and that's it. And I feel like he said Laurent.
Oh, it's probably distracted at how ashy he looks. So who knows?
We find out that they are the people that have been killing people in the Forks area. They then invite themselves to play baseball, which they weirdly accept. A wind comes through while they're heading to their spots, and James and the other vampires catch Bella's scent. Everyone is defensive, but Laurent pulls him and the other 2 back. Edward then rushes to bring Bella home, and only now is Bella afraid.
Mm-hmm. Every time I saw James, though, I just kept thinking of him, that actor in Burlesque. That's all I could think about was Burlesque the entire time. Yeah. The entire time I was watching this movie and I saw him, I was like, "You're in Burlesque." Look, that's all I could.
Is that him? Is that really him?
Yes, that's him. It's like literally all I could think about.
That's also a good movie to talk about. I mean, the music is good.
The music slaps, but the movie itself.
We'll have to trash talk that movie another time. Anyway, Edward then says he has to take Bella to Vancouver to keep her safe because James's thing is the hunt, and Edward has just made Bella a target. Bella is concerned about leaving so abruptly and leaving Charlie alone. Why she only now cares about her father.
She cares about her father at the most inopportune times.
Really though.
Throughout this entire series.
Uh-huh. And so she's also only concerned because her scent is at the house and whatever, and he could be a potential target for James. So Bella goes home and causes a scene with Edward as a cover for her leaving Forks so abruptly. She is unwilling to hurt Charlie, but then immediately annihilates him with her words. Charlie then tries to convince her to stay, thinking it's his fault and he's willing to change. But she leaves anyway, saying that she doesn't want to be stuck like her mom.
How did Charlie think that Bella was gonna go back? Like, did she have any money to go back?
I don't know. Because her truck does not get good gas mileage. I'm just gonna
There's no way.
There's no way. Also, the drive from Forks, Washington to Phoenix, Arizona, very long. And she's like, if I have to stop at a motel, I will, but I'll just make the drive. Like, girl.
Which, by the way, why was she going to Arizona? Didn't her mom say she was going to Jacksonville?
Yeah, but aren't they in Florida right now?
Yeah.
For spring training?
Yeah, so why did she go to Arizona?
Maybe because that's where her old home was. I don't know if they sold the house or whatever, or if they still had the house, but she was just going to go to Arizona, I guess. Maybe she actually has friends there.
I think they still have the house because James calls from the house. Does he not?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe she was just going to go back to her old house. She then leaves, and while she's driving, Edward jumps on her car again, takes over driving for her, and says that her father will forgive her. How he knows this, you know.
I mean, he would have no other choice but to forgive her.
True.
It's her father.
Emmett then joins them, and he jumps in the back of the truck.
Yeah, because Emmett is constantly jumping on the back of trucks. Yeah, just like Edward. I think there's like a family thing. They just love to jump on the back of trucks.
Bella then catches a glimpse of her friends, and I feel like she's feeling the loss of her normal life. If she ever cared about her normal life, I don't know. They then drive to the Collins house to see Laurent, and he explains how dangerous Victoria and James are. The Collins then prepare to fight James and Victoria. Edward sends Bella with Alice and Jesper to get her somewhere safe. Edward gives Esme and Rosalie clothes of Bella to wear to throw off their scent. Rosalie fights back, which she is still valid at this point, but Carlisle says that Bella is with Edward and that she is now part of the family, and they protect their family. They trust her way too much. Mm-hmm. Bella worries for Edward, but says everything will be fine, saying they'll get James and Victoria and that Bella is his life now. Bella, Jasper, and Alice head south, while the rest of the Cullens misdirect James. Alice first sees that, while they're driving, Alice first sees that James has changed course, and the others notice. How the others notice, I don't know.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me.
Because literally she sees it, and if she didn't telepathically tell them that his path had changed.
Which, that wouldn't be possible, because I'm pretty sure Edward can't read people's thoughts from hundreds of miles away.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like she was projecting something towards him, because she can't.
Yeah.
Alice then has another vision where she sees James in a room full of mirrors, which Bella identifies as the ballet studio she used to go to in Phoenix, where they currently are. Bella then gets a call from Edward and says that he's coming to get her and that they'll run away while the rest hunt for Victoria and James. Bella gets a phone call from home, and it's James saying that he has Bella's mom and to come to her old ballet studio alone.
Which, how did he get there that fast?
Don't know. I don't know how far up north they went, but he is seemingly there in like hours.
If that.
If that. Because it feels like an hour later, she immediately gets a phone call.
Yeah. Because Edward is like in the car, hasn't even left Washington yet. Mm-hmm. And then.
And like they realized James had left immediately when Alice does.
Yeah.
Now, how they didn't show up at the same time, I don't know.
Who knows?
Because they keep like boasting Edward's speed throughout this whole movie. How did James get there before him? So Bella goes to the ballet studio without telling Alice and Jasper. And when she enters, she hears her mom calling out for her. And when she finds the room where she thinks her mom's voice is coming from, it's actually coming from an old home movie.
Which was a weird home movie.
It really was.
Why does she have a home movie of her looking for her lost daughter? Child. That was weird.
So James is there and confirms that Bella's mom is not there, that he was just using her.
Because of fucking course she wasn't.
Yeah, of course not. He then starts to record Bella to anger Edward. Bella then uses her pepper spray on James, which, why didn't that work? Huh? He still has his senses. Why didn't pepper spray work on James?
Because, I don't know, nerve endings or something they don't have. Who knows?
Okay. It doesn't work, and she tries to run away, but he catches up. He pushes her away and then breaks her leg. Edward only then shows up and attacks James. Edward tries to get Bella out, but it's
oh my
stopped
gosh,
by
I
James.
screamed. I screamed. I did not remember this part of the movie. James literally, Bella is in Edward's arms. Mm-hmm. And so Edward jumps to go to like a second story, like balcony. James catches his foot and yanks him back down. I screamed. It was hilarious.
Bella is then bit by James, and Edward and James start to struggle and fight each other. Carlisle, Alice, Jasper, and Emmett show up. Jasper and Emmett begin to deal with James, starting a fire, burning his body, whatever. Alice, Carlisle, and Eduardo. They tend to Bella. Bella is losing a lot of blood and has started to go through the change from James's bite. Edward doesn't want her to change, even though she's dying, so he makes the decision to suck out the venom.
Okay, it's two things.
Okay.
One, so Carlisle told Edward not to kill James and to remember who he was. But then 2 seconds later, he tells Emmett and Jasper to kill James.
Maybe because Edward is his favorite.
Also, why did Carlisle not suck out the poison? Carlisle knows he has the strength to do it. Why did he not do it? Why did he make Edward do it?
Oh my gosh, you're right. Because he literally deals with the bleeding from her leg immediately. And then he has the most control.
Yeah.
Why didn't Carlisle do it?
Why didn't he do it?
Because that would have been a surefire way for her to be safe.
Yeah. And then when Edward is doing it and pretty much killing her, he doesn't really try to stop him. He's just like, Edward.
Yeah. He's just like, Edward, stop. You're killing her. Stop. Please.
Stop. Like, not even with any hesitancy or any urgency. He's like anger. He's like, Edward.
Yeah.
Stop.
The poison's gone. You're killing her.
You're killing her.
Edward is still draining her blood.
Edward's like, I can't hear you.
And I wonder how far he went before he actually stopped.
Well, she blacked out, so he went pretty far.
So Edward struggles to stop drinking her blood. Bella has her life flash before her eyes, and then she eventually wakes up in the hospital. Her mom is there, and and Bella immediately asks where Edward is, and she says he's been there the whole time. He's pretending to sleep.
Badly.
Charlie is down in the cafeteria. Bella's mom then tells her that Carlisle and Edward had followed her to Phoenix to try and convince her to come back to Forks, and that she had fallen down 2 flights of stairs and broke through a window.
Okay, Carlisle no longer gets to make up the stories. This story makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
What staircase can you think of has a window?
Mm-hmm. And they imply that she fell at the hotel.
Yeah.
So there would have been police there. There would have been a report filed.
Broken glass.
She fell out of a window.
It's not making sense to me.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense, please.
Please.
How people fell for that though? Oh, what? Well, what about the bite on her arm?
Right. Like, that is clearly not from glass.
Yeah. No.
Unless they cut up her arm even further. Because Bella has to bite her again.
Ugh. And then the bite on Bella's arm. I was going to mention this in New Moon, but I'm going to mention it now. Mm-hmm. So it looks like human teeth marks, correct?
Correct.
So there were like 2 or 3 other people attacked in this town that had human teeth marks on them, but they said it was animal attacks.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on there?
Don't know.
What's happening there? The police are not policing. What is happening?
Really there's no deep investigation going on.
Is that why Carlisle is the coroner?
That's probably why.
So he could be like, animal. But they're like, but there's human teeth, Martha. He bit himself on his back. Yes.
The animal must have gotten human teeth somewhere and used it to bite the human.
Here's what happened. The animal was playing in the cemetery, picked up a human jawbone, was playing with it in its mouth, came across this person, tried to bite, but still had the human jawbone in its mouth.
When we said make it make sense, Carlisle, we didn't mean like that.
Not like that.
We really did. Her mom starts to tell Bella about the new house in Jacksonville and how they're going to be living there, but Bella says she wants to go back to Forks, and her mom is very confused and says that they'll talk about it later, and that Bella wants to speak to her father, which we actually never see happen.
Nope. Because it would have been just them staring at each other for 5 minutes.
And then him being like, you okay? And then her being like, yeah. And then that's it.
And then even like, I got some juice. You want some?
Right. Like, dude, they got some like really sick food down in the cafe. You want me to get you some?
Yeah. Okay.
Also, like, literally the only thing in Forks for Bella is Edward. And like, she loves her mom and her stepdad.
Does she though? Because she doesn't.
Well, anyway, Edward then wakes up, quote unquote, and tells Bella that James has been taken care of, but Victoria has run off and they don't know where she is. Edward then takes the blame for her condition. He's 100% right, and tries to convince Bella to move back with her mom. But Bella gets freaking hysterical and shows very dangerous signs of codependency that aren't healthy.
The acting in this scene is atrocious. Mm-hmm. It's some of the worst acting I've ever seen in my entire life. Mm-hmm. And I was in a school play. So she literally stares at
That was a very nice compliment, by the way. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. It was she told that goes towards me too. Okay. There's literally a part where she looks at the camera.
Oh, is there?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't think I was paying that much attention. That's actually really funny. So after Bella gets super hysterical, Edward's finally like, you know what, fine, I'll stay with you. Back in Forks, we see Edward and Charlie silently waiting for Bella, who has gotten ready for prom. And she pulls the I'm a different kind of girl and wears a Converse shoe to prom. Like, I get that she's wearing a boot. She literally could have worn something else.
Did she get ready?
Could have put flats on.
Did she get ready for prom, or did she do as my cousin Brandy, who was watching with me, get ready for an 8th grade dance?
That is true. That is true.
Like, the dress she was wearing was not prom appropriate.
I have a movie fact about that, and it will, yeah. Anyway. Like all the other dresses that the girls are wearing at prom, those are like prom-esque, but like Bella, honey.
And then I understand you like look cute and stuff, but it's freaking freezing where they are, and like she's sleeveless. What's
and her dress is sleeveless, and it's very short. It barely goes past her knee.
Yeah, what was happening there?
Right. Like, you could have worn a longer dress and had a coat on.
And then when they go back outside, Brandy said the funniest thing. She's like, "Oh, look at her grandma cardigan," because she literally puts on like, it's not even like a full cardigan. I don't even know how to explain it.
It's still technically a cardigan. It's just cropped.
Yeah, it was weird. I was like, "Girl,
and
that's not."
And it's a knit.
It's very thin. It's very thin.
There are holes in there, bro. So we see Edward and Bella get to the school, and Bella gets out of the car and waits while Edward parks it. Jacob then shows up from out of the forest and comes to talk to her on behalf of his father. Mm-hmm. And he tells Bella
that cheap-ass wig on his head.
He tells Bella that she needs to break up with Edward and that they are watching her, and none of this sticks with Bella.
All right, she's like, cool.
Yeah,
Whatever.
literally, she's just like, oh, cool. Make sure your dad gives you the $20 he said he'd give you for talking. Edward then comes and takes Bella away from Jacob, and he makes a comment about wolves descending on her. They then show up to their prom, which is Monte Carlo themed, but was the blackjack table really necessary? They are literally teenagers. What are they betting on? Edward and Bella spend like 2 minutes inside prom before going out and dancing in a gazebo. And he more like carries her and shuffles around because her leg is broken.
Mm-hmm. But she only has a boot, which is weird.
She only has a boot. Bella then asks why Edward didn't let her turn, and he says that she doesn't know what she's talking about, but she insists that she wants him, not that she wants it to be a vampire. She wants him.
And this entire time they're talking, there's other couples dancing, but then they like one by one start like just, walking like, off, like mid dance, like in the middle of a song.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They probably heard what they're talking about. They're like, this sounds freaking crazy.
They're freaking crazy. They're talking about vampires.
Also, he's like carrying her and she's got like a boot on. What the hell's going on here?
Let's go.
Edward is insistent that he didn't want to end her life, but she makes the comment that she's slowly dying anyway and that Alice saw her like them. Edward then says that Alice's visions aren't always true and that she wants to become a monster, basically, because he sees vampires as monsters. And she says that she just wants to be with him forever. He asks if she's ready to turn right at that second, and she says that she is. And it looks like he's going to bite her, but he doesn't.
At this point, my cousin Brady said, "Get those damn ice cubes off my neck."
Yo, that's true.
Every time he like kisses her or something, she refers to his lips as ice cubes, and I think that's so funny.
That's valid. After that, he asks why it isn't enough to just be the way they are right now, and she says that it is for now. They go back to dancing, and through a voiceover, Bella says that neither of them are willing to back down, but she won't give up because she knows what she wants. And at that comment alone, I feel like she's just using him to just become a vampire. Like, she doesn't even really want to be with him.
Goodness, if she really wanted to become a vampire, she should cozy herself up to Carlisle. He obviously doesn't have a problem biting any person he sees.
Right, like get super sick or get hurt really bad and be like, just change me.
Just do it.
And he would do it.
He'd be like, okay.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Actually, she probably have to get hurt because he like obviously likes to do it when people are unconscious.
Yeah, he has a savior complex, so he has to save them from something. Yeah.
Oh he's like a reverse angel of death.
Honestly, though, they are dancing, and we see Victoria watching them from a second-story window, and that is where the movie ends. We are finally done with that movie.
Yay!
Check that one off the list.
That was the first. Okay.
So, I'm gonna hit you with some movie facts. This has a 49% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Too high. Let's drop it down to 30.
There was somebody else that Stephanie Meyers wanted to play Edward Cullen.
Please tell me it was Hilary Duff.
Edward Cullen?
Oh, you literally said Edward. I was thinking of Bella. Edward. I'm trying to think of who was young because I literally thought Channing Tatum. I was like, he's too old. Let me think of someone younger.
Yeah, because Stephanie Meyers literally said that she didn't want anyone over the age of 21 to play Edward. But this actor was just a little bit older than 21.
Zac Efron? No.
Imagine him going from High School Musical to this Twilight.
I have no idea who.
Henry Cavill. Superman.
Wait, how old is he now?
I don't know, but at the time of filming, he was under 24.
But that's too old.
Yeah, she said she only wanted people under 21, but she really considered getting Henry Cavill.
Dude, Did people know who Henry Cavill was?
Not back then.
I guess no one knew who these other people were either. So okay.
That is true. That is true. Do you want to guess who auditioned for Bella Swan?
So I'm guessing Henry Cavill didn't used to be as bulky as he is now.
I guess not. I don't know.
Okay. Now we're doing Bella.
Yes, now we're doing Bella.
Okay, I'm just going to throw out some names. Yep. Scarlett Johansson.
No.
Hilary Duff.
No.
Lindsay Lohan.
No.
Anna Faris.
No. Imagine.
Now I'm stretching.
One of the actresses is in another big movie franchise.
Jennifer Lawrence?
Yes.
Of course they would.
Yes, they wanted her to play Bella Swan, and then
she's too good of an actress.
And then there is another actress. I don't think you're gonna get her, so I'm just gonna tell you.
Yeah, just tell me.
Lily Collins.
What wasn't she considered for? Because Hollywood has been trying to make Lily Collins happen forever, and it's just not happening.
That's true. I like her in the Guernsey Potato Peel Pie Club in.
Girl, are you speaking English? What?
The title is super long. It has something to do with the Potato Pie Club. It's on Netflix. It's good. Go watch it.
Okay.
Scratch that. That's not even Lily Collins.
I was about to say, I've never seen anything good that Lily Collins has been in, but okay.
I'm gonna JK that real quick. That's not even her. I love this movie fact right here. Anna Kendrick compared filming Twilight to a hostage situation.
I understand exactly what she means.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was a comment that she just saw like, you know what? She's like, during filming, I feel like me and all the other people that I was in scene with, we would have been best friends if we weren't in a hostage situation. And I'm like, girl.
Yeah, I'm sure she doesn't talk to anyone from Twilight anymore.
You know what? I would be like 100. I would believe that 100%. Twilight, the book, was almost titled Forks instead. Just Forks.
Oh.
Because that's where the story takes place.
Okay. That's a terrible title.
It really is. Because it sets an expectation for something else.
Yeah,
it sounds like titled Forks.
Sounds like it's going to be like a cooking book.
Yeah, cookbook. Great. Opens it up. Why are there vampires in here?
Imagine like them accidentally putting it in the cooking section.
Like they don't even know what it is. They think it's like some niche book, and it's like, yeah, this is like for like dark cooking recipes. I don't know. It's got a black cover and it says Forks on it. You want to guess the film budget?
20 million.
A little higher than that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
They use like Instagram filters and shot at like 3 places. How in the world is it higher than 20 million?
It's 37 million.
Stop lying. In 2008?
Mm-hmm. 37 million.
Stop.
No, it's $37 million.
I refuse to believe you. That's not it. I'm so sorry. That's not. Where was that
Someone's
money?
Lying.
Where was that money going?
I don't know.
I choose to believe a good 15 million of that went towards advertising. There is absolutely no way there is $37 million on the screen. Mm-hmm. It's not happening.
Also, this will explain the movie quality. How you want to guess how long this was filmed for?
What, like a month and a half?
2 months.
I was close.
44 days to be exact.
That's pretty much a month and a half. I was pretty much right.
You were pretty much right.
I mean, also, like I said, they filmed in like 3 places. Like it didn't take that long. That's why now I'm absolutely convinced there's no way the budget is $37 million.
Also, you can't even say that they spent a lot of money on that house, because that house probably wasn't being finished built, because there's literally French doors leading out to nowhere on the 2nd floor. Like,
yeah, they were probably building the house like in between takes.
Mm-hmm. They had to like tell the construction workers to like be quiet for like a scene, and then
like, hey. They like literally bought like a red light. It was like, when the red light's on, stop construction.
Taylor Lautner had no idea what Twilight was when he auditioned for it.
I'm sure he didn't. I'm sure he didn't. Because the facts I know from the second movie, I'm convinced he didn't know what this movie was.
And my last fact was Edward. What's his name? Who's the guy that plays Edward? Robert
Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. He was almost fired from Twilight because he made Edward too brooding. So, like, the executives literally sent him the Twilight book with instances in the book highlighted where Edward smiled. And then Robert Pattinson was petty and went and read the book and highlighted every time that Edward was like brooding or not smiling, and it outweighed the smiling parts. So he's like, technically, I am following the book. So you cannot fire me.
He should have been fired because he obviously hated that series. I don't know why they let him continue.
No, there's another movie fact that says that he did hate the movies at first, but now that he looks back on it, he says that there's a special place in his heart for the Twilight series, and that him and what's her name, Kristen, would film more Twilight movies together.
There's nothing else for them to film. And didn't she cheat on him?
But he said that they're willing to film together again because they love the saga.
Okay, there's nothing else to tell unless they do like a war against like regular vampires against the Volturi. Like that's the only way you could do another movie. But okay.
I mean, Stephenie Meyers did come out with another Twilight book.
Why? I mean, I know why. Like, she needs money, but
it's literally Twilight, but I think from like Edward's point of view. I think so. It's literally the same book, but like I guess with more Edward. I don't know.
That's the laziest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Like, it's not even new content.
Telling the same story just from a different character's point of view.
Right. It should have been from Rosalie's.
Yes.
That would have been a lot funnier and a lot more petty, and I would have been there for it.
Tell me Rosalie's story.
Right.
Because like the little snippet I got from the third movie was not enough. Like I need the full story.
Be a Rosalie stands in this house. So
yes.
Bring it on.
Okay, ask me the dreaded question.
So, do you think this movie's iconic?
Okay, I put yes, but not because it's a good movie, because it's a terrible movie, only because it launched the YA craze.
Yes, literally
that's the only, because it gave me the Hunger Games. That's the only reason why I said yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a hint right now. The rest of the movies are a no for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I also said it was iconic because like it's such a big franchise, and they're like it launched the whole genre of fantasy YA books. And in that time of my life, I really loved the fantasy YA books. So Hunger Games and all the other like dystopian or like werewolf kind of like road, that was me. Like I read a different book by one of my other favorite authors, and that was like werewolf kind of thing, but it wasn't like the cheesy like Twilight kind of werewolf kind of thing. And so like I'm appreciative of that, but everything else about this movie, not good.
Yeah, if it wasn't for this movie, I never would have watched the Hunger Games movies because they never would have happened, and I never would have read the Hunger Games books. So I thank this movie for that and that alone.
That's it. We thank you for your cultural impact.
Yes.
Movie wise.
Yeah. So, do you have any recommendations?
You know what? I've been so busy that I actually don't, and I feel really bad. You know what? I am going to plug this, though. I'm going to plug Corpse Husband on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud. Listen to his music. watch his YouTube videos. He has like not like creepypasta, but like scary stories on his thing. Also, he plays video games. Amazing. Go check him out.
Okay. I think I've heard about him on Twitter.
Yeah, you probably have.
So mine are, the first one is Futurama. I love Futurama. It's one of my favorite shows ever. I kind of wish they would bring it back, even though they ended it perfectly. And then my second one, I was just listening to this yesterday. It's Neo's Year of the Gentleman album. Ooh. It has hits you know of. Closer, Ooh. Miss Independent, Ooh. Mad. Come on, y'all. Get into it.
If you don't like Neo music, come on now.
You can turn this off right now. Yeah. Because I will
We don't want you here.
I will fight you.
You don't like this energy you're bringing to this space right here. We're going to have to burn some sage later.
So that's the end. Thank you for listening. Come back tomorrow for what is it? Twilight New Moon.
Which I think might be my only like other okay Twilight movie.
I disagree, but okay. Don't forget to follow us on our social media. We have a Twitter and Instagram. They're both at SYTYI Podcast. Send us some movie recommendations. Send us some funny stories. Send us something at our email or answer our questions.
Yes. Also, if you read the book, any of the Twilight books, like, please tell us what. Tell us why.
Why? Tell us why.
Or if they were any better or worse than the movies.
Yeah, we need to know.
Also, if you would want a refund for your time you wasted.
Our email is sytyipodcast@gmail.com. Also, don't forget to share us with your friends and family. New year, new you. So subscribe
if they want to listen to new podcasts.
Yes.
One of them.
Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. And it's January now, so maybe you weren't wearing your mask last year. I think it's time to start wearing it now.
Yeah.
People are dying.
Your hands.
Yes.
Continue to wash your mask.
But most of all, please stay iconic.
Stay iconic, y'all. Bye.